The stairs wouldn't let me leave. It was the quiet wing of the hospital. The old one they kept open because they didn't have space anywhere else. I'd been sleeping on those vinyl chairs for 2 nights while my mom lay down the hall with tubes in her nose. I told the nurse I was going to get coffee and air. There was a service door by the vending machines. It wasn't for visitors. I used it anyway. The stairwell was bare and ugly. Cement walls, a red pipe that hummed when the boiler kicked. Someone had scrapped the paint off the handrail where you turn. There was a cheap light that buzzed and flickered when it got tired. It smelled like mop water and dust. I started down because the sign in the hall said the cafeteria was on 1. I was on 5. 5 East. I remember that because it sounded like a ward for ships. 2 flights down the landing had a crumpled paper cup on it. I noticed it because there was a brown ring from coffee around it. I stepped over it and kept going. Another 2 flights, and I was back on a landing with a crumpled paper cup and a brown ring around it. I laughed because I thought I had doubled back without noticing. I went down 1 more flight, slow, counting steps, fingers on the rail. I came around and there it was again. Same cup, same ring, same scratch on the wall by the exit door where someone had tried to pry it with a key. I checked the exit door. It had a little window. It looked into a hallway. It looked like the same hallway I had just left. A yellow poster about hand hygiene. A burnt-out light by the ice machine. I went up again. 2, 3 flights. The light flickered and buzzed. I came around and hit that landing. The cup. The ring. The scratch. I pressed my thumb into the ring. It was damp. I took out my pen and drew a line across the wall by the rail. Just a quick straight line. Then, I walked down a flight. The landing had the line. I went up. The landing had the line. I walked in a circle on the stairs until I got dizzy, and there was always the landing with the line. It felt like I wasn't going anywhere, but I was tired enough to think maybe I was messing it up. I took a penny out of my pocket and set it on the step. I took 3 more steps down and took out my phone and turned on the camera. I pointed it at the landing. The penny was on the step. I picked the penny up. I kept it and set a fresh one there. I didn't want to trick myself. I went down fast, 2 at a time, and came around and the penny was there. Same scratch. Same coffee ring. I could smell the sugar in the cup. I could hear my own breathing a split second after I heard my feet. It felt like the stairwell was repeating me. I pulled up my phone clock to see how long this was taking. It said 2:11 a.m. Fine. I put it in my pocket and it buzzed in my hand. When I pulled it out, it said 2:08 a.m. I frowned and waited. It flipped to 2:10, then 2:12, then 2:11. I thought it was a bug. I never trust those clocks anyway. I hit record and talked out loud. Okay, I said, like an idiot. I'm on 5. Or I think I am. Going down. I walked down a flight. Now I'm at the same landing with the cup. God. I turned and went up. Going up. Same landing. Jesus. I looked at the phone, and my own face looked like someone else's in that light. On playback, my voice came a half second before my lips moved. I asked a question and then watched myself ask it. It made my stomach feel wrong. I tried the door. It had one of those bars you push. I leaned on it. It stuck. I put my shoulder to it, and it popped a couple inches. The magnet lock buzzed and the alarm chirped once. I froze because I didn't want a guard kicking me out when I was already on thin ice being back there. The chirp faded out like it had been swallowed. I peered through the gap. The hall had that yellow poster. The ice machine light blinked slow. I pushed harder. The bar wouldn't go farther. Something held it from the other side, like hands on the bar. "Hey," I said, out loud. My voice bounced back too late. "Hey." "Hey." The door stayed dead. I shoved one of my shoes into the crack so the door couldn't close. Then I turned and went down fast. 2 flights. 4. I counted out loud. 6. The light flickered on 3 and went steady again by the time I got back to the landing with the cup and my shoe sticking in the door. I pulled my shoe out and fell back on my ass. I held the dirty sneaker staring at it. Same one. Mud from the lot. I put it back on with my hands shaking. "Okay," I said. It sounded silly in there. I didn't want to say please to a stairwell. I didn't want to call anyone and get laughed at. I didn't want to leave my mom alone, either. I went up again to see if I could come out where I started. I counted the turns. I kept my hand on the rail and scraped my knuckles on the same nick every time. I breathed through my mouth to not smell the old coffee. I told myself if I hit the landing again I would stop and think. I hit it. The cup was there. The brown ring had smeared where I touched it. The smear was dry now. My pen line had 3 lines through it that weren't mine. They were the same thickness. Same pen. I don't write that clean when I'm flustered. They were a little angled, like my angle. Like me. I pressed my thumb into one line to see if the ink smeared. It didn't. "Hello?" I called. I think I wanted a real person to show up and tell me to go back to bed. I heard, "Hello?" way down, like someone below me said it after me. "Who's there?" I tried. The echo came back wrong. The timing was bad. It felt like it was chasing me. I tried to call the main desk. I had saved the hospital number because I'd been calling it all week. It rang once and clicked, and I heard my own voice breathing on the other end. The call timer counted up. "Stop it," I said, and my voice in my ear said, "Stop it." I hung up, and my phone said the call lasted 0 seconds. Time said 2:11 again. I stood with my forehead against the cold door window. I looked at the hall. I thought about my mom's hand on mine before they took her. She had been awake enough to say 2 things. "Don't get lost," she said. The second thing was my name. I said I'd be right back. Then I took the service stair so I didn't have to walk past the room with the little kid in a halo brace. I didn't want to see it again. I took the key ring hanging off my belt and I scratched a big X on the wall by the bar. If I saw that X again, I would know for sure. I went down 1 flight. X. I went up 2. X. I went down 4. Slow. X. I went up 6. Fast. My lungs burning. X. Next to it, neat as if I had taken my time, there were numbers. 18, 19, 20. They were written small beside the X. My handwriting. I hadn't written them. The ink looked old. It was my cheap pen ink. It had bled a little. I crouched down because I thought I was going to puke. I got dry heaves and spit brown coffee spit into the trash by the door that wasn't there the first time. Then I saw there was a note stuck with tape under the bar. It was on the back of one of those visitor stickers they give you at the desk. The ones with your name and the date. My name was on it. The date was last week. In my writing it said, "Stop going down." I looked at every corner for a camera. I wanted someone to jump out and tell me it was a joke. I wanted to break something. I took the visitor sticker. The tape peeled off in a gummy strip. It let loose with a sound that made my teeth feel bad. I stuck it on my shirt because I didn't want to hold it. I tried to be smart. I took off my belt and wrapped it around the handle of the door and tied it tight and then fed it under the door to the other side to see if I could snag something. It slid away and came back oily. The light above me snapped twice. It dimmed and flared. A siren whooped once like a promise and went quiet. I waited a long time after that, breathing through my mouth, because I was sure security would come. No one came. After a while, my legs started to shake. I don't know how long. I didn't want to check my phone again, but I did. It said 2:11. I pulled up the stopwatch and watched it. It ran 0:09, 0:10, 0:08. It stuttered, and then kept going. The battery went from 68 to 65 between breaths. When I opened messages, I had one from myself. It was audio. I hadn't done that. The timestamp said 1:03 a.m., then changed to 2:13, and then yesterday. I hit play. I listened to me. I was crying on it. "Stop going down," I said. "Please just stop going down. Just stop." Then there was a loud bang, like someone hit the door, and my voice went small and far away. "Don't leave her again." The recording ended with me breathing too close to the mic. It made me hate the way I breathe. I put the phone in my pocket and I did stop going down. I turned and went up 3 flights. Then I skipped the landing. I grabbed the rail and hopped to the next one because I thought maybe I was doing something wrong with the rhythm. I hit hard. My knee barked. I caught myself on the rail. I stood there swearing. I did it again. Jumped a landing. My shoe slipped. My shin hit the edge, and I slid down 2 steps and yelled. It was wet there with something like condensation and grit. I looked. My shin had a tooth of skin hanging. There was blood. Not a lot. Enough that it ran down my sock in a warm line. I got mad and wiped it with my hand and smeared it on the wall over the X. I did it like a little kid. Big red smear. I stood there panting. I went down 1 flight and came back. Blood smear. Then there were 2 more smears. Dry, darker. One was different, like I used the palm of my other hand. I lifted my left hand and saw a line of dried blood I didn't feel. It had set in my hairs. "Hey," I said. I didn't know who to say it to. "Hey, just tell me what you want. I'll do it." The light went all the way out for a second. I heard my own footsteps on the concrete 2 flights up. Mine, but not mine. The slow, careful kind. The way I walk when I'm trying not to wake my dog back home. I froze. In the dark, the stairwell felt tall and thin and close. When the light came back, I saw something on the landing above. Just the edge of a shoulder. The same jacket I was wearing. Tan. The same cuff rolled up 1 fold. The person wasn't moving. I climbed 1 step. It wasn't there. I went back down the step and stood still. There it was. It stood still too, but I could feel it standing when I stopped. I tried to catch it moving by surprise. I failed. The timing was wrong. I was wrong. I pressed my ear to the door and listened to the hall. It was quieter than it should have been. Nurses' heels, usual soft swish. None of that. No machines except the ice machine light blinking. Then a faint speaker hiss, like the intercom warming. Then the flat voice of the emergency alarm. Code blue, 5 east, in that bad neutral computer tone. It looped once and stopped like someone cut a wire. I laughed. I put my head against the metal and laughed because I hate that voice and I hate this place and that shit was not even real. I called my brother. He didn't answer, which is normal. He hates phones. I left a voicemail. "Hey," I said. I made myself keep it steady. "I'm in the stairwell by Mom's floor and I'm stuck," which sounds stupid. "I'm trying to get out and the door won't open and I think I walked in a circle. I don't know. Can you?" The voicemail timer went from 0 to 3 minutes while I was talking. Then it cut. The next second, my phone buzzed with a voicemail from me. I listened to me say the same thing. It ended with a thump and me saying, "Small. I'm sorry." I left. I sat with my back to the exit and drank the last of my coffee cold because my mouth tasted like dust and old pennies. The paper cup on the landing was my brand. I hadn't noticed that before. The ring it left looked like a moon. There were ants along the seam of the step. 4 of them. They walked past my foot with no hurry. I went to smash them and didn't. I watched them find the sugar in the coffee ring. One fell in and flailed. Under the rail tape, stuck to the pipe, there was another note. Folded up, long time collecting dust. I pried it loose. The tape took paint with it and made the pipe cry a little noise. The paper was my band practice set list from a year ago. My hand, my scribble, songs we never got right. On the back it said, "You promised to stay. Don't get lost." The G in get was the same G my mom told me to fix in 5th grade. I could hear her. You make your G like a 9. Stop that. Make a real G. My throat hurt. I was thirsty. The labels on the pipes were nonsense to me, but I stared at them like knowing the name would help. Return. Supply. The air tasted like metal. I wanted to go back to the room and sit by her bed and be bored. I wanted to say the thing I hadn't said to her for years. I thought I had time to find the right way. I thought I could get coffee first and think and come back with words. I think the stairwell knew that. Or, more honestly, I knew that, and the stairwell made me look. I stood up. My legs felt like wire. I put my hands on my knees and breathed. I stopped looking for a trick. I stopped trying to outsmart it with coins and lines and jumps. I turned to the door and put my forehead against the little window, and I looked at the hall until my own reflection went away and I could see the ice machine light blink, and I said it. I said it to the door and to the me that was behind me and to the old note and to the static in the ceiling. I left you because I was scared, I said. My voice shook on the first word, and then it got steady, like I was talking to a dog that got out. I didn't want to see you like that. I didn't want to be the one who sits there. I didn't want to sign the paper. I wanted coffee and one more minute being the kid. I'm sorry. I came back. I'm here now. My voice came back to me like the stairwell chewed it and spit it out. It said the words out of order. Scared. Wanted. Sorry. It made me sound like a moron. Fine. I felt hot in my face. I put my bloody hand on the bar. It was cold. It buzzed under my palm like a live thing. From above, slow and careful, my footsteps went away. Not down. Up. Away. I didn't move. I listened until I couldn't hear them. The light steadied. The alarm in the wall had that one little sigh a system makes when it resets. The little red light by the magnet lock turned green. I pushed. The door moved. It swung open, like a normal door swinging. No resistance from ghost hands. No one waiting. The hall smelled like lemon cleaner and warm plastic. The yellow poster was crooked. The ice machine blinked slow. The clock above the nurse's station said 3:02. My phone said 3:02. The seconds ticked in order. I stepped out, and the rubber floor under my shoes felt different from concrete. I wanted to fall on it and hug it. My shin burned. Blood had run into my sock and glued it to me. I limped. I walked past the little kid's room with the halo brace and didn't look in. I was not good. I was not better. I went to my mom's room. She looked smaller, which happens when you leave and come back. The machines were soft and steady. Her face was turned toward the door like she'd been waiting. I sat down. I took her hand. It was warm and dry and strong enough to squeeze mine once. I leaned down and put my forehead on the blanket by her arm. "I'm sorry," I said into the sheet. "I got lost." She made a noise that could have been anything. It was enough. I sat there until the light coming in the hall went gray with morning. When the nurse came in, she blinked like she hadn't seen me go. She checked the bag and wrote something down and asked if I needed water. I did. I drank it and it tasted like water. I didn't tell anyone about the stairwell. I still don't use that door. I walk the long way and stare at the carpet and count my steps to keep my head right. But the next night, when I went for coffee, I stuck a new visitor sticker on the rail in there, right under where I pulled off my old one. I wrote on it, "Don't go down. If you see it, listen. If you can't, then say it out loud and mean it. Then push. Then go sit by the person you're trying not to think about." That's all I did. That's what worked. I hope you enjoyed that one. Sometimes these stories stay with you longer than you expect. If you'd like to hear more, subscribe for the next night's story. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe watch another before the lights go out. See you in the next one.